Hello. Does anybody remember who this man is? If you said Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., you were right. This is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and next Monday on the 18th of January, we're going to be celebrating his birthday. They made his birthday a holiday because he was a very important man in history. So let's read about him. This book is called Martin's Big Words. All right. We'll be learning a little bit about him because it's important. There's Martin and his mother. Everywhere in Martin's hometown, he saw the signs, white only. His mother said the signs were in all southern cities and towns in the United States. Every time Martin read the words, he felt bad, until he remembered what his mother told him. You are as good as anyone. So, in the South, only white people could drink from certain water fountains, and black people weren't allowed. Now, we know today how ridiculous that is, but back then, it was called segregation, and it was wrong. And poor Martin grew up during that time. So if he was really thirsty and there was a water fountain, and it said white only, he couldn't drink from it because his skin was brown. Should we judge people by the color of their skin? Absolutely not. And here's Martin in church. His daddy was a minister, so he would be in church. In church, Martin sang hymns. He read from the Bible. He listened to his father preach. These words made him feel good. When I grow up, I'm going to get big words too. And Martin did. He grew up to be a very famous speaker, and he said some of the most amazing quotes that I've ever heard in my life. He was a brilliant man. And there he is. Martin grew up. He became a minister like his father. He used the big words he had heard as a child from his parents and from the Bible. Everyone can be great, Martin said. Everyone can be great. And he's right. Everyone can be great. There he is. He studied the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. He learned from the Indian nation. He learned how the Indian nation won freedom without ever firing a gun. Martin said love when others said hate. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Love is the most important thing, and we know that. He said together when others said separate. He said peace when others said war. Sooner or later, all the people of the world will have to discover a way to live together. And that's very important right now because our country is very divided right now, but we need to learn to live together. And the only way that's going to be solved is through love. Okay, here's a picture of the train, or a bus, I think it is. No, it's a big bus. In 1955, on a cold December day in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks was coming home from work. A white man told her to get up from her seat on the bus so he could sit. She said no, and she was arrested. Montgomery's black citizens learned of her arrest. It made them angry. They decided not to ride the buses until they could sit anywhere they wanted. Can you believe that they would have to get up out of their seat? If you had brown skin, you had to get up out of your seat and give your seat to a white person. That makes no sense at all. So there's the bus, and the brown people all walked to work. They didn't take the bus, so the bus companies didn't make any money. So for 381 days, they walked to work and school and church. They walked in rain and cold and blistering heat. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them until the white city leaders had to agree they could sit anywhere they wanted. When the history books are written, someone will say, there lived black people who had the courage to stand up for their rights. So Martin Luther King is famous for helping people to stand up for their rights, their civil rights. The government can't tell you that you can't sit in a certain spot on the bus. Okay, here are some of the protests that Martin Luther King led. In the next 10 years, black Americans all over the South protested for equal rights. Martin walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. White ministers told them to stop. Mayors and governors and police chiefs and judges ordered them to stop, but they kept on marching. Wait! For years I have heard the word wait. We have waited more than 340 years for our rights. And he was right. And they can't tell you can't protest, so they definitely protested. Okay. Here they are holding hands because they had to be strong together. They were jailed and beaten and even murdered, but they kept on marching. Some black Americans wanted to fight back with their fists. Martin convinced them not to, by reminding them of the power of love. Love is the key to the problems of the world. He is absolutely right. That's what we learn in our classroom, right? To love everyone. Here is Martin. I think he's saying a prayer. Many white Southerners hated and feared Martin's words. A few threatened to kill him and his family. His house was bombed. His brother's house was bombed, but he refused to stop. Remember, if I am stopped, this movement will not be stopped, because God is with this movement. And he kept on, got the people to go and protest against what was wrong, because it was truly wrong. The marches continued. More and more Americans listened to Martin's words. He shared his dreams and filled them with hope. I have a dream that one day in Alabama, little black boys and little black girls will join hands with little white boys and little white girls as sisters and brothers. After 10 years of protests, the lawmakers in Washington voted to end segregation. The white-only signs in the South came down. Okay, so there are no more of those signs. And anybody can drink from any fountain and go in any store that they want. And aren't we friends? We all are friends with everybody in our class. We don't care what color the person is. I don't care what color a person's skin is. I care if they're a good person, and you need to be good people. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. cared about all Americans. He cared about people all over the world, and people all over the world admired him. In 1964, he won the Nobel Peace Prize. He won it because he taught others to fight with words, not fists. He's a very important role model for everybody. Everybody, especially at this time, the country needs somebody like him. We need to follow his words. Martin went wherever people needed help. In April 1968, he went to Memphis, Tennessee. He went to help garbage collectors who were on strike. He walked with them and talked with them and sang with them and prayed with them. On his second day there, he was shot. He died. Some people are so filled with hate that they didn't like what Martin Luther King said, and somebody shot him. It was a very sad day in history, and I remember it very well. Even though I was only little, I still remember it. It was very, very sad. Freedom, peace. His big words are alive for us today. Together, we have a dream. Love. So that's a little bit about Martin Luther King Jr. and how important his words were and how he helped people to get what they deserved by using his words and not fighting. And unfortunately, someone didn't listen to him and he was shot. So we'll be learning more about him, and we will celebrate his birthday on Monday.